Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert, that's me. This video contains things that I encounter throughout the day. If for some reason I complete a task and you would like to see the details, you can click on the link in the description area below. This video also contains tips and tricks that I learned throughout the years. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. Thank you very much for watching. Kicking off the day in the happiest place on earth, Las Vegas, Nevada. On my way to the North Las Vegas Municipal Court building. Talk to these folks about this ticket they gave me for driving my car on a roadway with an expired temp tag. Gotta get lemonade back to Cincinnati so I could get a full registration. When I left Cincinnati to pick up lemonade, I didn't think I was going to be gone as long as I have been, trying to stop and help people. You know, they got a saying, it goes something like, no good deed goes unpunished. Well, I don't quite believe that, but sometimes it does cost you things to help others. And this is part of it. So let me go see if I can shave some money off of this $200 ticket and then get on my way. Get up out of here. Whoop, whoop. I could count on one hand how many traffic tickets I've gotten. I call them traffic tickets because they're tickets you get while navigating from one location to another. I think they call them traffic tickets. Got a couple of speeding tickets in my life. 2 of them I think the same month. I got a aggressive driving ticket one time. Spun tire in front of a cop. He didn't like that. And now I got this ticket here. Usually, if you are local to your violation, you can show up to court, and if you're not a habitual offender, they'll cut you a break. But if you're out of towner, traveling somewhere, it's a little difficult to show up for court. You can hire an attorney to show up, which may or may not save you money in the long run. Of course, you don't want points building up on your driver's license, affecting your insurance rates. So if you're not a habitual offender, it's probably a good idea to show up to court, spend that 2 to 4 hours there. A lot of times they'll have you out within that amount of time. Used to be back in the day, the officer didn't show up. They didn't really have that live interaction. But the last time I got a ticket and showed up, the officer was there. The judge still cut me a break. He said his wife used to drive an old Volvo, but I was surprised to see him there. Sometimes before your little court, they'll have an attorney roam in the room and they'll try to negotiate a deal with you, lessen your fees, get you out of there so you can move on and just deal with it that way. But sometimes if you ain't got it, just got to talk to the judge. If he don't cut you a break, you make payment arrangements, pay your ticket out, and keep on moving. There's a couple of tricks to paying tickets for the stuff that you do out of town, so you don't get points on your license. But anyway, you don't want a bunch of points on your license messing with your insurance. Insurance, man, liability type of automobile insurance, probably the worst insurance to have on the planet, but you gotta have it. Gotta have it.
West Craig Road for 3 miles.
I'm at the point now in my life where I realize it's actually against the law to leave your residence. Because a police officer, man, he's got a book of laws that you could violate longer than your body. They could pull you over and write you a ticket for absolutely anything. You ain't never gonna be right. You know, they probably write you a ticket for smiling too hard. But, so you just go deal with it. Most of the time I get pulled over, I don't get a ticket. It's petty stuff, you know. But, hey, they got to check. They're doing their job, making sure you're not intoxicated and all that other stuff. So, let them do your job. Hopefully, you stay out of trouble. It don't cost you much to drive around trying to do things that life has for you to do. So, on the ticket, it tells you to appear in court to answer the above charges 5-9-8 a.m. Evidently, that is not a court date, is what they told me at the window, because they wouldn't let me have a court date today. They wanted to reschedule me for another court date to see what the judge will decide to do with this ticket violation. Then it says your bail was $198. The lady told me my ticket was $250. I ain't interested in paying $250. So they expedited me a court date for tomorrow. So I'll be back down here tomorrow. Which you call fun in the sun. So let's see what happens tomorrow. I was probably going to be here tomorrow morning anyway to leave here. I was hoping to leave here like 4 or 5 in the morning. Probably going to push me back till 10 before I get out of Vegas. Headed to the Sun City of Phoenix, Arizona. Here we are, folks. The happiest place on earth. The salvage yard in North Las Vegas. Pick apart. Man, they really have some old cars right here close to the entrance. A little section here, 1 row. I know people be wanting parts off of stuff like this. But they got these projects tucked away in their backyards and stuff. This thing's even got the glass to it, this first one. Old stuff right here. Talking about that 50, 60-year-old stuff. Look at the back of that car. That thing was like a boat. Somebody came and picked this apart. It had a lot of parts on it a couple days ago. Rambler, Midget, Triumph, probably a TR7 or something. It's old Lincoln. People cut some stuff out of this and send it up north. I came out here to check a couple of parts real quick. People need for their Volvo. Heater hose connections, stuff like that. Here goes one right here. Turbo S70. Probably got the heater hoses in it still. Original, probably blew the engine. So I'm going to cut those out of there real quick because I have no idea where the ones are that I already have. And I'll check a couple more things while I'm out here real quick. Somebody's wanting some trim off of a wagon or something. This really was a pain in the butt getting out with that air tube in the way. Whew, I think I'll take that air tube out next time. Continuing my tinker day with Panther. Panther is smoking. Mostly in between shifts. I don't quite understand why. So, I got 525,000 miles on it. Look at that oil in there. Sucking oil back in the charge piping. I'm going to see if I got blow-by due to worn rings. So I'm going to do a compression test and go from there. See if it's got a little compression. The first cylinder, 125. Time to check the second cylinder. This one says 120. Cylinder number 3. Where'd that one end up?
Same, 120.
Okay. Up there, 132. Cylinder 5 is about 135. We're going to wet it, do it again. Put some oil down each cylinder, a cap full. I'm going to turn the engine over for about 10 seconds. Then I'm going to do the compression test again. If the numbers jump, I'm in trouble. Wet 210. That's a bad sign. That's letting you know that the cylinder is sealing up good and the compression tester is good. So I'm down at 120 psi, between 120 and 135 across the board. This car needs some rings. Needs to be rebuilt on the bottom end. Panther is going home, folks. 2-cylinder wet. We're at 220. I think this test is over, folks. Man. Really no need to go all the way across, but what the heck. Might as well while we're here. And here it is. 200 on cylinder 3. Cylinder 4, 205. I often get messages with people saying, hey, my car won't start. What's wrong? I don't know. I'm not there. But if you want to troubleshoot it, this is what you need to know. If you have a combustion engine vehicle, that's a vehicle that you're taking to the gas station to put gas in. Combustion engine vehicle. That vehicle needs 5 things to run. Start and run. It needs 5 things. It needs a proper amount of compression. It needs a proper amount of air to mix with the proper amount of fuel. It needs spark to cause the fuel to explode, and it needs timing, which is the synchronization of the engine. So if the timing belt's broke, you're not going to have several of those things. You're not going to have compression, and you're not going to have synchronization. If your fuel pump's out, you're not going to have the proper amount of fuel to mix with the spark and the air and the compression. If you don't have compression, the explosions won't make the engine run. Those little explosions makes a centrifugal force with the engine, causing the engine to run. Air. If you don't have the proper amount of air, the explosions won't happen when the spark hits the fuel. So, if your car is not starting, you need to check and see which one of these 5 things are missing. Is air missing? Is fuel missing? Is compression missing? Is timing missing? Is spark missing? If you can't check those 5 things, you need to get that car towed to somebody that can. I don't know what else to tell you. Thanks for watching. So, I always tell you guys that these cars were built to last 500,000 miles. And Panther is at 525. It is 25,000 miles above the 500,000 mark. And it's tired. The engine is worn down. You do a dry compression test, hot and dry, everything was like 120 to 130 across the board. Everything's even. The compression gauge is working right or it's reading low. You wet it and you check the compression numbers again. Wet it means putting about an ounce or a little bit less than a cap full. Like if you got a small bottle, put a cap full of oil every cylinder, let that sit 2-3 minutes, crank the engine, let it move that oil around in the cylinders for 10 seconds or so, then redo your compression test. In this engine, wet compression should be between 205 and 220. That's what I had across the board, between 205 and 220. So that's telling me that dry, this engine is got low compression, about 125. If you see on the gauge, below 120 is actually a danger area. And you start experiencing misfires at about 90 psi in your compression. And if you get down at that low compression, the engine's not going to run because it doesn't have enough compression to properly fire the engine off. So, got 1 or 2 decisions to make. I could replace the engine with one with good compression, or I can rebuild the bottom half of this engine. I was hoping me using full synthetic oil would extend the life of this engine. I have seen some of these engines go, wow, up to 700,000 miles, still running strong. I know a guy, he's got 1.2, 1.3 million on his. Now, I don't do oil changes as often as some people do. I do run full synthetic. Sometimes it gets a little low. However, I run this car hard. I'm always carrying extra weight. I got a bigger turbo on it. I'm towing cars with it. This car is getting worn and used more than it was designed to get. So I'm not surprised that compression is low at where we're at. I'm surprised the crank's not worn out, let alone the rings on the pistons. So there you have it. I'm pushing higher PSI on the turbo and all those things. All those things contribute to these engines wearing out faster. I think I did good at 525, but I'm going to need to get this car where I can replace this engine. Hope that makes sense. Thanks for watching. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.